came to Law Memorial. I started attending almost as soon as I moved to town in 1972. I had been a member of a Presbyterian church in another town. I had direct choir at a Presbyterian church when I was in school, but I wanted to look around, and Law Memorial just seemed like I was more at home here than anywhere else. So that was it. I came to town. I was a preacher's kid, and I was aware that the church is the way we need to do things, and so I was going to find a church that would allow me to be a part of doing things, and I figured Law Memorial was
I'm a lifelong member of Law Memorial. My parents moved from Durham when I was about 1 year old, so I was baptized here in Law Memorial. Went to Sunday school, went to church. There was never a question about coming to church. It was just expected. Sunday morning you go to church. So that's what I've carried on throughout my whole life. Sunday school classes were great here. Church was great here. I went through UMYF, went on the beach trips, ski trips with MYF. I belonged to a Boy Scout troop that was sponsored by Law Memorial Church, so this is where we came for Boy Scout meetings. Later on, Tanya Thomas Gentry and myself were married here at this church, 1983. We had a daughter, Jeannie, in 1990. She was baptized here in this church, and here recently, not only did she attend church her whole life, but she was also married by Ed from this church. Due to COVID, we were not able to have the wedding in this church, but Ed did marry them at Tunnel Creek. As time moved on, both of my parents attended this church. They passed away. Both memorial services were held at this church. My dad in 2001, my mother in 2019, and their ashes are in our columbarium here on the grounds of Law Memorial Church. So we have strong ties to Law Memorial Church. We've loved it all our career, all of our life. We do things for the church, and it's just been a great experience.
I've been attending Law Memorial my entire life. I was baptized here. Not sure how I started going here, and then my parents went here, and my dad's parents went here, and my mother's parents went here when they moved to Roxboro from Durham. And I may have had some great-grandparents to come here, but that's how I ended up at Law Memorial.
And so I'd always attended United Methodist churches with a brief stint in the Presbyterian church, so I hope that doesn't throw me out of here. But I had been looking for, a welcoming place. I kind of had some times growing up where I didn't always feel like I fit in with the church that I attended, or I felt like I kind of had to hide myself a little bit and not really fully be who I am. And so it was nice to attend somewhere with Connie White's invitation, of course. And I really admire and appreciate the history that the church has here in the community, and so it's been nothing but smooth sailing from there. I've really enjoyed my time here so far.
And attending Law Memorial United Methodist Church almost 20 years ago. My husband took a job as assistant superintendent for the Person County Schools, and that means we need to live in Person County. So we moved here at that point and began to look for a church home. The process was a lot slower than I had hoped, but we finally found out where we needed to go, and this is sort of how it happened. We first, Doug was working, and I was not working that week, and someone said to me, "We have Lenten lunches every Wednesday during Lent every year, and why don't you come to lunch?" And so I came to lunch. The person who invited me did not come to lunch that day. So I walked in as a total stranger. And a woman I'd never seen before said to me, "Do you play bridge?" And I said, "No, I'm afraid I don't. I'm pretty good at rook, but I don't play bridge." And she said, "That's okay, sit beside me anyway." And so I sat beside her and went to every Lenten lunch that Lenten season, just because that wonderful woman, whose name I don't even remember, was kind to me. So then it was time to make the transition will we go there to church? So Doug and I decided we would visit to Long Memorial, and lo and behold, there was Leon Long. Leon Long is a self-appointed greeter who makes everyone who comes to church happy. And so he wanted to know who we were and what was our story and wouldn't we like to sit at such and such a place. And then he proceeded to introduce us to everyone who sat around us. And then we got mysterious cards in the mail, postcards that were signed, "Your Long Memorial Friends." Nobody was in that group but Leon Long. We found out later that he wrote cards to people who visited. That's part of his mission. And so we thought, well, this is really nice. What a friendly church. So we went back the next few Sundays, and every Sunday, Leon Long introduced us to everyone who sat around us. By the fourth or fifth time, the people who sat around us had always been the same people. So they would say to Leon, "Yeah, Leon, we already know them. It's okay." So we went to the morning worship for a while, and that's all we did, was just a Sunday morning service. But then a man named Charles Owens, who is a retired Methodist pastor, who was also a member at our church, at the church, was not our church yet, he came to us and said, "The Sunday school class I go to is starting a new book study, and you all need to be in it." And so that's how we got to Sunday school. And so from there, we had Sunday school, and we met a group of friends that we are still friends with to this day. And Charles Owens doesn't even go to church here anymore. He's moved to Durham. But at any rate, he got us in Sunday school. Well, after that, we were all in. It was make coffee during the Moravian Love Feast for Doug, and get to a circle meeting for me. And if it was going on at church, we wanted to know about it and be a part of it. And that's really how it all happened.
Okay. Could you say your parents brought you?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. And how did they start attending? Did they just go? Were they members there for a long time? Did their parents go to Long Memorial?
No, my mother was from Durham, but she came here to teach school, and she married my daddy, and she was a member of Asbury Methodist Church in Durham, and so she transferred to Long Memorial, and I started going after the first grade. Always been the center of everything in this family, and so all my friends went there, and I loved the church, and we had wonderful teachers, and it was just the center of my life all the way from 6 years old on up. So it's been part of me ever since I was 6 years old.
I've been at Long Memorial since 1956, when I was born, and on July the 17th, ironically enough, in a couple of weeks, I'll be 66 years old. My family were members of Long Memorial. My grandparents on my mother's side also were members as well, and so that's how I got here. And I've been here the rest of those years. Other than in college, I didn't attend very regularly at that point in time because I was in school and wasn't going to drive back and forth from school every Sunday. So I went to church somewhere else during my school years.
I was born into Long Memorial. I was baptized here and raised in the church, married here, and now attend with my family.